This week's Parshat BeShalach, is the beginning of the journey that the Jewish people took from Egypt after 210 years of slavery. There were two possible routes that the Jewish people could have taken. The first one would have been through the land of the Philistines, which would have been a shorter route. The second possibility was through the longer route, more circular route, through the desert. God decided to take them on the longer route and not the shorter route. Why would he have taken them on the longer route if there's a perfectly good short route available? The Meshech Chochmah explains that in Egypt they believed in multiple deities. They believed that there were many gods, and they would sacrifice and pray to many different gods for all different situations. The Jews had been in this surrounding for many years and had taken on some of these practices. What God was doing when he was taking them out of Egypt was taking them away from this false multiple deity belief system and bringing them to a belief system which believes in one all-powerful God. Therefore, had he directed them through the route of the land of the Philistines, where they also believed in many gods, there would have been a risk that instead of following one God, they would revert back to what they were used to and once again follow many gods. So God decided that it would be better to take them on a longer route and therefore avoid the risk of them falling back into the false beliefs. The importance of believing in one God is central to everything in Judaism. There is one God who is all-powerful, one God who has control over every aspect of nature, every area of one's life. Therefore, it makes sense to say that if a person believes something, to transition from one belief to another belief takes work. Takes work to internalize this belief, to make this real. Therefore, in this week's parasha, we see examples where God used opportunities to teach the Jews what it means to believe in one God. They're traveling and they encamp in front of the Red Sea. Behind them, the Egyptians come to take them back to Egypt, and they are encamped in front of the Red Sea. There is nowhere to go. On one side there's the sea, on the other side there's the Egyptians. As far as they're concerned, they're dead meat. This is the end of the road. And they cry out to Moshe and they say, what was the purpose of taking us out of Egypt if all that's going to happen is we're going to die here in the desert? Was there a shortage of burial plots in Egypt that you had to bring us here? They're absolutely desperate. There's no realistic way that they're going to survive. But God miraculously splits the sea. They come out unscathed on the other side, and the Egyptians are drowned. They're saved once. Further along, they once again cry out to Moshe that they're going to die. They're afraid that they're going to die because there's no food in the desert. And they say once again, why did you bring us here to die? This time, God miraculously sends them food from heaven, and they have food to eat. There's a third situation where they think they're dead, they think they're going to die, and that is when they run out of water. And they're traveling all over the place, and they find no water, and they cry out again. This was the point of taking us out of Egypt in order to die, and God sends them water through a rock. A rock gives forth water, and they have water to drink. God was trying to teach the Jewish people that there is only one person that you can rely on. There is only one being that is worthwhile to rely on. The master of the universe, God, who is the most powerful being in the world, in charge of every aspect of every part of everyone's life. The people thought that they were dying. The people thought that this was the end of the road. God showed them that whether you live or die is irrelevant. Whether you live or die is completely dependent on me. Whether you have food or water to drink, food to eat or water to drink is also completely dependent on me. They're in the middle of the desert, nothing for miles around, but he sends them food and water. God was teaching them that belief in me is a worthwhile and actually the correct way. Because just to tell someone something is not enough. Experiencing it is far more powerful. In fact, experiencing is believing. Shabbat Shalom.